Senji, and because we again have this glorious time of the year when we have Steam Summer Sale and there are thousands of titles just waiting for you to buy, and I was thinking that there are some titles that I really like and I would really love to recommend to you guys, because I think there are many different types of games. There are shooters, there are strategy games, there are role-playing games, different kinds of stuff, and I bet there's something you could find for yourself. So I made a list of 15 titles. All of those are games that I played, I somehow tried, and I probably spent at least a few hours playing them. And I really feel like recommending them to you guys. First, I need to warn you that all of the prices I will say here are in euros, because that's what I use in my Steam account. It may be a bit different, but I bet in your currency it's still pretty low. So, the first game on my list, let's go with the number 15, is Democracy 3. The Democracy 3 is currently on 70% discount, which is 6.89 euros. It's a great political strategy game. It's pretty complex. It's still pretty readable. It has very nice design. It's very plain to understand. But it also takes into consideration many different aspects of the, everyday life of your citizens, because you are the president of the country. You can choose one of the different countries. The other pretty cool thing about this game is that if you get bored of what is offered by the game, you can always try downloading some mods. There are some other countries available there. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in this game. I had great fun making a socialist United States. So if you are interested in some politics, in strategy games or economic games, I highly recommend it. Although I have to warn you that if you have too liberal politics, some right-wing groups can try to assassinate you. Just keep that in mind. Staying with the politics topic, the other title, let's say number 14, that I would recommend is The Long Live the Queen. Is now at 40% discount. It's 6.89 as well, and it's well, it's hard to describe this game, to be honest, because first you look at it, it has sweet graphics. The main character, Elodie, which is the character you play, the princess, who is supposed to become a queen of the country. She's training to become a queen, but there are many perils that are waiting for her. It has a pretty cool story if you follow it. It's one of those few games where your choices really do matter, and usually it ends up in you being killed somehow. It can be poisoned sweets, it can be beaten by a dog or something like that. You can be killed while you are with your fleet on a sea. Many different ways that you can end up dead. So it's pretty fun. But I have to say, exactly, although it feels like a bit like Game of Thrones because of that, it has this graphic that does not really resonate well with me. I don't really like it that much, but I know that there are some people that really loved it. Going to my next title, which is Guns of Icarus, number 13. It's currently on 66% discount and it's for 3.39 euros. It's a really cool steampunk airship battle simulator. It's great if you have a bunch of friends to play with, because it's heavy, very heavy on the cooperation. You need to constantly communicate with other players, so it's best to play if you have, I don't know, Skype, Discord, Mumble, or any other program that lets you communicate with your teammates, because every player has a strict role assigned to them. You can be a captain, a gunner, or an engineer, and depending on your role you have different talents, and you can manage different parts of the ship. And exactly, the cooperation is really important in this game, because sometimes you may spot a ship that is on the other side than everybody currently is, so you can shout to the microphone, guys, there's a ship on our left, quick, turn, or something. So, like I said, it's a great game if you have a bunch of friends to play with. And this is exactly the downfall of the game, because if you don't have people to play with, you're going to be screwed, because, like I said, the communication is the key. It's a great game to play with friends, and it's really cheap right now, because honestly, $3.39, it's like what, a coffee? And you can spend an hour in this game. And like I said, it's a steampunk airship battle, so it's awesome. You can customize your ship, you can customize your characters, although I have to say that there are microtransactions and it might be a pain, but there's nothing in those microtransactions that directly affect the game. It's only cosmetics. So that's good, right? Coming to our next title, it's Enslaved: Odyssey to the West. It's 12th title on my list. It's currently discounted on 75%, which is €4.99. It's really good for a game that's this pretty and has such a cool story. I have to say that sometimes the climbing and jumping part can be a bit hard, because the controls and the camera work is not that great. Go and try it, because it's a great story-driven third-person puzzle fighting game. It's great. The next title is Sunless Sea, 11th on my list. It's currently 50% discounted. It costs €9.49. Have you ever played Fallen London? It's let's say text-based game. It's a text-based browser game. It's really great. It's narration heavy. It revolves around your character, and you can also play with other people. You can interact with other players. But Sunless Sea is a game created by the same people that created Fallen London. It also takes place in the same, let's say, universe. The London has fallen underground. The hell is your neighbor. There are tentacle people, there are golems, there are many different things you can encounter over there. Everything is dark, but I wouldn't say grim dark, because it has very interesting sense of humor, I would say. So if you like Cthulhu-like game revolving around your ship, because exactly the Sunless Sea takes place on a sea that's underground, and you are the captain of the ship. You decide who will be your mates on the ship. You will decide where to swim. You also maybe encounter some kind of different creatures you have to battle on the sea. The game is a bit unforgiving, because you have very scarce resources and you have to manage with those. There's permadeath. When you reach a certain point in the game, you can make sure that the thing that may scare some players is that it's very narration heavy, meaning that every decision you make is based on a wall of text. So like I said, it might be a problem for some players. Some players might think it's a great idea. For me personally, it was great, but this game requires a bit of focus from you. So if you want a mindless game, I wouldn't recommend it for you. But if you want something immersive, something that will really get you hooked, then I highly recommend it. Also, you can go check out Fallen London, because Fallen London is for free. You just need to register on the website. The 10th title on my list is Soma, which is now 50% on 50% discount. Costs €13.99. It's I would say it's pretty expensive on my list because most of the titles for now were below 10 euros. So this one is pretty expensive, but I can assure you it's worth it. It has an amazing story, it has an amazing style and great atmosphere. You will get an existential crisis at one point probably. The one thing I have problem with this game, which is a very basic thing, is that it's scary, because I'm not very good with scary games. But if you are a fan of horror games that are not just jump scares, but they are very focused on creating an atmosphere of this disquiet, of some terror just lurking somewhere around the corner, then this is a great game. The next title, number 9, is Banished. It's currently 66% off. It's for 6.45 euros right now. It's a great kind of strategy, economic and survival game all mixed up together to create this game where you manage a small village that in time will grow bigger and bigger. The game gives you at the very beginning around, I think, 20 people, and you need to manage. The biggest obstacle you'll encounter are probably diseases and winter. It can be unforgiving. Sometimes just your one poor decision can impact your game a few years in the future. But it's a great game. I spent many hours. It's also very relaxing, I have to say, because right now I'm telling you all the stressful things that you need to take under consideration. But to be honest, if you just sit and relax and listen to this lovely music and there are birds singing in the background, the one thing I have to say is that the game lacks some very basic tools, like the terrain modification tool. Fortunately, there's a great modding community and there's already a mod for terrain modification, so you can download it without any problems. Another title, number 8, is Don't Starve, the basic game, which is now discounted at 75%, 374 euros. It has a lovely, very lovely stylized graphics, is a bit Barton-esque. It's very funny, it has a great sense of humor, but this game is also unforgiving. It's also a survival simulation. If you wander a bit too far from your camp, you may die. There's also a sanity meter, and once you lose sanity, you may start seeing things that will only make your sanity go down faster. The next title, number 7, is Saints Row 4. It's currently discounted at 75%, which is 374. It is just mindless fun, really. I would say the only minus this game has, it has a bit of crude humor, which may not resonate good with all of you guys. But it's really fun. The plot is all over the place. You are the president of the United States, but the alien attack, and suddenly you are in this computer simulation of the real world, and you time travel, and stuff happens. Really, the game is all over the place. It gives you so much freedom in the game. Although I have to say that you need to wait a bit before all of your talents and all of your abilities unlocked, but you can fly, you can run really fast, you can jump really high, you can use almost anything as a weapon, even a giant dildo. It's just great. And there's Keith David, who is a vice president, and I just love Keith David, so it makes me really happy. You can customize your character. It mocks many big franchises. The Matrix, Mass Effect, for example, the Independence Day, you name it. It's just great. It's so funny and it's really cheap, so you can go and try it. Number 6 on my list, it's Darkness 2, which is currently discounted by 80% and now costs €5.99. I was a bit conflicted when adding this game on my list because on one hand I have a problem with the way it handles women, but I have to say I had a really good time playing it. It has a great mechanics, it has a great fighting styles. The gameplay was very fun for me, although the story is very cliche and very predictable, and the game lasts only 6 hours. But really, when you use your darkness to grab some bad guys and just throw them around or just tear them to pieces, it's really satisfying. I just loved it. I love this game. So, and because it's only €6 right now, you can always go try it. If you go past the, I don't know, in the first 5 minutes, the sexy twins that are supposed to lift the main character's spirits, that's... Okay, but let's go to the next title, which is Dragon Age Origins, the Ultimate Edition. It's now discounted by 75%, which is now €4.99. If you have never played Dragon Age Origins, then I highly recommend it because it has a great story, it's a great game, and also it's a Ultimate Edition which has all of the DLCs, and it's only €4.99, so go and try it. It's a great game, I highly recommend it. I know it aged a bit, it's probably not looking very good right now, but at least it will work on the older computers, right? The number 4 on my list is a Hand of Fate, which is now discounted by 70%, so it's €6.89. I really like this game because it's pretty unique. At one hand, it's a card game, but on the other, it's an action game. It has a bit similar gameplay to Darkest Dungeon, but it's not as unforgiving. It's a very unique game, although it can be a bit repetitive. The game is very fun and looks really good. Although I have to say it's a bit heavy, I don't think it was optimized very good, but you can go and try it. The number 3 on my list is Transistor by Supergiant Games. You probably heard about the studio because they created Bastion, which is a very big hit. Unfortunately, Bastion is not discounted, but Transistor is. It's discounted by 75% and now costs €4.74. It has really beautiful graphics, beautiful music. To be honest, as I was writing this list down, I was listening to Transistor music. It's just amazing. It has a very good story. I really liked the fighting mechanics with different kinds of attack and active pause. The only thing that bothered me with Transistor is that after I played Bastion, Transistor has exactly the same voice actor that serves as a narrator in both games. So it felt really weird, a bit like a deja vu, but not exactly, because you know, the different graphics, different music, different story, but the same voice that introduced me to this whole world. So it was a bit weird, but it wasn't that bad because the narrator has a really great voice, so I welcomed him. Number 2 on my list is of course Undertale, which is now 30% off. It costs €6.99. It's not that much for a game that gained so much fame over the last year. It has a fantastic story and amazing plot twist along the way. It has different endings depending on what you do along the way. I'm not saying what you choose, but what you do. because in my opinion that's a big difference. The graphics, I'm a bit conflicted about the graphics because I think such a big and amazing story would deserve better graphics, but on the other hand it's an indie game created by a very small team. For some people it might be discouraging a bit, the graphics, but some people may, I don't know, find it enduring. But the biggest minus this game has, and I'm very sad to say it, is the fandom. If you play this game, if you enjoy the story, please stay away from the fandom. Do not Google any information about this game. The only information you can try getting from Wikipedias and stuff like that. Do not wander to any social media, please. Just once you finish the game, just sit down with your favorite tea or hot chocolate and think to yourself, man, this was a great game. It has a great story, but do not engage with the fandom, please. Number 1 on my list is another title that unfortunately costs more than 10 euros. It's been discounted by 40% to 13.79 euros. And it's The Darkest Dungeon. It's an unforgiving game that will leave you a crying, frustrated mess, but it has a great graphics, it has a great story, it has just great atmosphere. I love it. It has permadeath. Do not get attached to any characters in the game. They will die, probably, and go insane, or just go insane, or just die. I'm not sure, but it would probably end poorly for them. The voice actor that's playing your ancestor has a history of reading Howard Philip Lovecraft stories. You can buy audiobooks with him reading Lovecraftian stories. Like I said, I highly recommend this game, even though it's more expensive than most of the titles on my list, but it's so worth it. You will waste so many hours, well, not waste, you will spend so many hours in this game, and it's so worth it, really, trust me. But I have to warn you, you will get frustrated. Go and try it. So guys, I hope you enjoy this year's Steam Summer Sale. I hope you'll get the titles you want. I hope you'll enjoy your games. If you have any game that you would recommend to me, because I'm also gonna buy some games, probably Subnautica, because I so want to play this game. So if you have any games that you would recommend, please write in the comments. I would also love to receive any recommendations from you. Maybe you have played a game that I haven't heard of. But right now, thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!